The New Orleans Saints are back home in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome and all set to go for Monday Night Football. Hi again, everybody. With Mike Hoss and John DeShazier, I'm Sean Kelly, and greetings from the floor of the Superdome, where tonight the Saints look to hold on to first place in the NFC South, perhaps have some history made too, and take care of the Washington Redskins. A few things going on, JD. There are a couple of big headlines heading into this fifth game of the season for New Orleans.
What headline? Is there a game tonight? No, we're looking for Drew Brees to obviously break the all-time passing record yardage. He only needs 201 yards. He break Peyton Manning's record, and we know all those things, and he's probably going to do it. Now, Washington's a really good defense, but here on this kind of stage, Drew Brees has always risen to the occasion, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wouldn't have that number by halftime or so. I mean, he's been pretty efficient this season, obviously completing 76.5% of his passes. So, we expect big things out of him. He's only done it his entire New Orleans Saints career, so why not again tonight in front of a home crowd?
Yeah, Mike, we're celebrating a career and the moment, too, because, while we celebrate the career tonight, and we'll talk extensively about the record, what he's done so far, as John mentioned, 75 and half percent, right?
Yes.
Completion percentage. Mike, he hasn't thrown an interception in 5 regular season games. He has his team in first place in a 3-1 mark.
He's doing it all. I mean, he's only been sacked 6 times. The offensive line's protected him well. He's not had Mark Ingram. I think he's really relished also the whole Taysom Hill thing. Because to me, think about it. Since 2006, when you came to this building, you kind of knew what you were going to get. Now, whether they executed or not, it was Drew and Sean Payton's offense. You knew what you were going to get. But now, you really don't know. When he gets into the ballgame, you don't know. He's added a new wrinkle to everything, and Drew's just been so efficient with the touchdowns. And even when Kamara's touched it 91 times, either catching or running the ball. I think they've just come through this last 3 games. Coming back against Cleveland, we will look back, I think, at the end of this year and go, almost a pivotal point of this season will be that comeback against Cleveland. But what a special year for Drew already.
So 201 yards, as you guys mentioned. They'll stop the game unless, as I understand it, it's within 2 minutes of the end of the first half or the end of the game. When they do stop the game ball at that moment will then be presented to the president of the Pro Football Hall of Fame for a quick flight to Canton. The Superdome lit up in pink tonight because we start Crucial Catch here in the month of October. We'll go from pink to black and gold for exactly 9 minutes. And some of the luminaries that are here tonight, John, including his former running mate there, Luke McCown, all here to celebrate what we anticipate to be that moment tonight when he becomes the NFL's all-time leading passing yardage leader.
Well, if you listen to Drew, so many teammates and coaches have a little piece of this history, and he's one of those guys who he's not going to take it all upon himself. Now, obviously, he's been the guy throwing it around and completing the passes, but, there have been so many elements to it. You've got to have the blocking. You got to have receivers. You got to have running backs picking up blitzes, and especially receivers when you're talking about guys making some acrobatic catches over the years who've really helped him out. But you've also had some pinpoint accuracy from Drew Brees. So a lot of guys have had their hands in this. All of these guys want to celebrate it with them, and certainly he will acknowledge all of those guys as he already has before.
Yeah, that's the huge headline tonight. Now, there are a number of others. You touched on one of them, the return of Mark Ingram tonight for the New Orleans Saints.
Been out for the first 4 games, and certainly, I think Sean Payton's initial intent was I'm not going to really try to burn out Kamara, but he has been so phenomenal with the football. You've almost had to get into his hands. But yeah, so it just brings back this whole new wrinkle. I don't know much, what kind of football shape we talk about, condition he's going to be in. But he adds this new kind of up the middle between the tackles running, and then with Taysom and with Alvin and with Michael Thomas and with Drew. The Redskins only give up 15 points a game defensively. They're 2-1. It's a little misleading. They've had an open week already. So I expect to really see how this offense really meshes with everything now. They've got everything.
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet. No.
Right.
Well, we saw perhaps the most complete game yet played by the Saints last week in New York against the Giants. Both sides of the football, rushing, passing. Defensively, it was impressive, too. Can they carry that over against Washington?
I think so, because Washington isn't the team that's explosive offensively. They're not going to hit you with a bunch of big shots. Now, what Washington will do is they'll run the ball, 138 yards a game. That's 5th in the league. They average 33 attempts. That's 1st in the league. So they want to ground and pound you. Mm-hmm. Also, they want to possess the ball. They have possession 33 and a half minutes a game. That's 2nd in the league. And what that does is that keeps your offense on the sideline. And this is the most explosive offense, the Saints among the most explosive offenses in the league. If you can continue to convert in the run game and continue to convert those 3rd downs, you keep that Saints offense on the sideline. And that's what they want to do. They want to shorten it up, because what happens is you lower the possessions for the Saints offensively. And if a team has less possessions, then they might get a little bit more desperate when they do get the football because they get a little bit more impatient because they don't know when they're going to get it back.
JD, you've been with the Saints all week in their preparation for tonight's game. Let's talk health. How healthy is the Saints team going into their 5th game of the season?
Well, other than Ted Ginn Jr., they're pretty healthy. Ted Ginn Jr. will not be in this game. They're hoping Traquan Smith can give you some of those same qualities. Cameron Meredith at receiver looks to be rounding into form. He looks a little bit more like the guy that they wanted when he was at his peak in Chicago. So he's rounding into form. And, of course, Michael Thomas. They have Josh Norman playing cornerback for the Redskins. If Josh Norman wants to play man-to-man against Michael Thomas, I'm going to put my money on Michael Thomas. So we don't know exactly how that's going to go out. But, look, the Saints have some things offensively. Ted Ginn Jr. really the only guy who's missing that they're counting on.
I feel like, Mike Hoss, in a lot of ways, I'm trying to catch a lot of things in one bucket for us here pregame. Surely I'm forgetting something. What else is on your mind, whether it be the matchup or the festivities around Monday Night Football? What is on your mind tonight as we get set for prime time?
What's funny is that really how this team has not really fared well in prime time of late. You know, I mean, Monday Night Football, they've lost 3 straight here at home on Monday Night Football. I think, as kind of John said, everybody will look back to last year's Redskin game. By far, the craziest game that I've witnessed in my tenure. But I think, you know, as John said, Washington's kind of unique with, you know, Adrian Peterson comes back. You know, he's had 3 touchdowns already. And Alex Smith, certainly they're a better football team than they were with Kirk Cousins. Alex Smith's completed 69% of his passes. That's pretty impressive. 4 touchdowns, only 1 pick. So they have the capability to do, as John said, and that's possess the football. You know, don't do, you know, and he also has run it 19 times, you know, so you got to be a little wary of that as well. So this is a scary football team, not really on paper. I mean, they beat Arizona, then lost at home to Indy, then beat Green Bay at home. So they've had an open week already. It's kind of weird, you know, so, but they've had a week to rest. Now the Saints have their open week next week. So this is, you know, I don't know if what Sean does in that week yet, but they are 8-3. In the week prior to getting off. They like that week before getting off. They're ready for their vacation, and certainly win tonight, 5-1, you know, would be a great way to start that off week.
Yeah. Stay clear of the edge of the players' lot after this football game tonight. They'll be the next thing smoking out of here heading into that bye week. John, you know, I mentioned the prime time deficiency here of late, but yet we've known that magic to be in this building before. It's interesting. If the Saints win tonight, which I think all of us who obviously wear that logo just below us hope they do, that knocks Washington back. That also now presents an interesting NFC situation. There's going to be, 3 or 4 teams in the entire NFC side of the ledger that will have a winning record, and the Saints will be one of them, clearly out in first place in the NFC South.
Yeah, and look, they need to keep winning. Carolina won yesterday. The Saints need to keep winning to stay ahead of them in the NFC South. That keeps them clear of them by a half game. Carolina's 3-1. The Saints will be 4-1. So they need to kind of stay clear and stay ahead of them. This game is huge because you want these guys to keep their emotions in check. It's a huge game. It's Monday Night Football, national TV. Drew Brees has a record in the offing. Mark Ingram's back. So there's a lot of things stirring around with the Saints. And then this crowd's probably going to be pretty wild. So you want them to keep their emotions in check, especially early, because that sometimes can lead to a turnover if guys are a little bit too anxious to make a play.
I'll take that as your big key for tonight. Any final thoughts from you? Final key perhaps for Mike Hoss?
I think this defense has to do what it did last week with Demario Davis and really kind of stepping up. And, you know, for whatever reason, the Giants did not throw deep. I think the Redskins will take some shots tonight. But if this defense can continue to kind of evolve, Marcus Davenport, and really kind of get off the field and let this Saints offense be on it, I think we'll see big things.
Yeah, glad you mentioned Davis. He is the reigning NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Should be a fantastic matchup tonight. This is why ESPN put this game on Monday Night Football. They had a thought, and it looks like they're going to be right that Drew Brees will break that record tonight, and we'll have a great NFC matchup, the East versus the South, and the Redskins and the Saints. Mike Hoss will be on the sidelines throughout the game tonight. John, you and I will be in the press box, and then right back here on the sideline for postgame on NewOrleansSaints.com and on your Saints mobile app following this one. Kickoff just after 7:30 Central Time tonight. Coverage all over the place. Of course, national radio and national television, but to the Saints Radio Network. And we'll wish Zach and Deuce a great call of hopefully a historic moment tonight as well. Enjoy the ball game wherever you may be tonight. That'll do it from us here pregame. We're ready to go. Saints and Redskins coming up here on Monday Night Football.